Joining us here for a roundtable, we have Supervisor Neil Derry, regular guest on the program. Glad to have you on the show again.
Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you this morning. Your office sent out a press release about the Make Work Pay tax credit the Obama administration had recently announced. Bring it down for us in terms of what's the effect locally, regionally, and what is this all about, and what is it you don't like about it?
Well, it's not that I don't like it. We just have some concerns about the implementation of it. The tax credit is basically a $400 per worker tax credit, or if you're married, a married couple, $800 for both. And there's basically what the administration did is through the IRS, they just changed the withholding rule so that it gets withheld from everybody's pay, or you automatically get this tax credit whether or not you qualify for it or not based on your income qualification. So an individual is getting actually more out of in the income qualified area, is actually getting more money in their paycheck because of this tax credit's been included. And the problem is that if you're under a number of situations, like say you're an employee with two jobs, or you and your spouse both work, or you maybe, if you're a working student, you might be claimed as a dependent, you're going to get the tax credit even though you don't qualify for it, and you'll have to pay the money back when you file your tax return.
Oh, okay. All right. See, you have to lay it out for me like a reasonably intelligent 12-year-old, and now I get it. The problem is not that you're worried that people are going to get a little extra money in their paycheck, because I'm like, well, why are we complaining about that? But that they're going to owe this money back and not know it.
Correct.
And then they're really going to be in a jackpot if they don't pay on it, and they're going to be expecting a certain tax return, and they're not going to get it. In fact, they may even owe money or fines.
That's correct. Well, you probably won't get fined. It shouldn't put anybody over over that margin that would require them to pay a penalty. But it may in situations, which is why you need to be careful. But it shouldn't have that big of an impact. But it will certainly impact people who didn't qualify for it, impact their tax return at the end of the year. So it's something to keep an eye on. And as a matter of fact, if you don't qualify for it, to actually stop, it takes more paperwork to stop the program on your paycheck than it would to apply for another tax credit at the end of the year anyways. So it really it's just a difficult program to deal with. Most people will qualify for it, but there are a number of people, as I mentioned, if you work two jobs or you and your spouse both work, you may or may not qualify for it. So you need to go to the IRS website. They've got a calculator there to tell you whether or not you qualify.
You know, this just sounds terribly complicated. What was the purpose of this?
Well, I think it was an economic stimulus. The president promised a tax cut for average Americans. He did provide that in most circumstances, but instead of allowing it to be a tax credit that you would get advantage of when you filed your taxes, they wanted to implement it immediately so that that those dollars could go back immediately into the economy and not wait for the April 15th deadline to get your tax return back.
Okay, so it was a way to get the money into the economy right away, but it's only a few bucks a week or a month, right? I mean,
it really is. It's probably something most taxpayers didn't even notice.
Yeah, I mean, so I can buy an extra cup of coffee, so what? Now, I happen to be an entrepreneur, and I own my own business. I own, 3 different businesses now. But, still, I can't imagine how this is. My wife is my bookkeeper and my accountant, and I can't imagine how maybe people are going to be tearing their hair out that don't have the services of somebody like that. When you're just, a retiree or a young person on a very limited income, and you're just getting these few extra bucks, and you have no idea at the end of the year you're going to owe that back.
Yeah, like I said, most people won't, but a very large number of people very well could and will. And so it's kind of a difficult program to explain to folks, and that's one of the concerns that we raised in our news release. We wanted to make sure that we made the public aware of it so they could check on it themselves. Go to irs.gov, and they've got a withholding calculator to determine your qualifications for the program.